Welcome back to Nisa's Players D&D Vault. Today I'm going to be showing you guys in depth about this first large block on your character sheets. We are going through the character sheets part by part, and I start by showing primarily my players how to fill these out, how to get the most out of them, and then I will go into how they are created for anybody else who wants to use these ideas and be able to use them within their sheets and their vaults within Obsidian. And of course, I've already shown how the pictures pull, that by putting the image code in this input line with the brackets, it inputs it into the front matter and is able to be pulled and displayed in multiple places for the picture of who we're dealing with. Now, some of these are quite quick and easy. I mean, obviously, everybody knows the player name. In this case, it's me. When we are filling these in, there's a couple different types of inputs, and they're all based upon Metabind, which means nothing to most of you. But I always like to work top to bottom, left to right. For the most part, there's definitely going to be some bouncing when we're building brand new character sheets. For those who know who is, you know I'm not actually building a new sheet at the moment. I am basing it off of something that already exists, a character that's been through quite a bit already. So to start, you can see that there are a couple places where there is no input line. You don't get to change that number. And that is because this level line is actually pulling the combined level from both available classes on your page. So when you are putting in a level, you put it into the class level. And then if you're multi-classing, you know if I'm a level 3 rogue, I'm a level 2 in sorcerer. And for those who know us, who know that that actually is her multi-class, but in the game that I'm currently using her on right now, she's still at the rogue. And so you can see that the level automatically changed. The armor class changes based on toggles. And so if she had defensive armor, it would change if she had a dex modifier yet. Things like that. Her armor proficiency, see that automatically changes. And sometimes you'll get these pop-ups. They don't really matter. You can just ignore them. Your max hit points, that's going to auto-calculate based off of all of the math that happens after your rolled HP. And for those of you that know, rolled HP is based on your hit die per level. So in her case, her rolled HP is sitting at, and I can't do math very well. I love calculators. I am allowed maximum HP up until level 5. I usually do the same for my players. And so her rolled HP is at 24. That brings her max HP to 27. Now, I want you to also see, because that's none of her stats are in yet, that changed this number down here. And we'll show where that comes from as well for that hit point tracker as we work our way over there. You can see the speed section. Now these character sheets come default with 30 walking. At this level, she's not getting to play with her wings yet, so that's where she sits. And you can change from drop-down menus what she has for vision. You can change from a drop-down menu when you do your level ups what proficiency you should be at. So if she goes to level 5, I'm going to bump her up to that. So for now, we can see that for levels 1 to 4, she's at a proficiency of 2, and her initiative will auto-pull as well. Down here, we can see all these wonderful tail buttons. These are designed to take the number that is being mathed out for you based on your stats and roll that in Tailspire as the accurate modifier. Based on whether or not something is toggled, it will change your Tailspire roll. Then you have the actual stats. Now, it used to be that you had to go into your source mode to do this. That is no longer the case. So when you are building your character sheets, you just get to put the numbers in. So you might start with getting a racial bonus, and you can put it over here and add your rolled or your step point by or whatever it is that you calculated your points with on the left, and it will combine it up here and it will calculate your modifiers. Those numbers also get used down here so that they automatically get applied. And once again, you have Tailspire codes to roll directly, an acrobatics roll in Tailspire that matches your modifier. You can roll that with advantage, you can roll that with disadvantage. All to the win. And then all you have to do for proficiency, instead of going into code, typing P's like we used to do, boom, boom, boom. Nice and quick. And that automatically changes. So if you have your perception on, your passive perception is going to change. Your passive insight is going to change. It's all calculated for you. You don't have to think about it. If you end up with an expertise, you just click both. Now it's in the expertise column, it applies. Whee. That's how simple this section is. And that's how nice and easy this is going to automatically process everything for you. Then at the top, player name. Role is, you can see it says campaign code. This is where it wants you to enter a specific thing. Now that campaign code changes based on every character. And in her case, it is 7S. Because she is going in the 7 Sovereigns page. And so once I'm done this character sheet, I can delete the old one, move her up there. Easy. We've got her hit die automatically in here as a rogue. Her race, Blue Dragonborn. Now, if I was, how about I spell? So if I didn't know what kind of character I was creating, I could go to race and select from the list. I can pin these pop-ups, resize these pop-ups, move them all around. I could also right-click the link and open it in a new tab, open it to the right, so that I could see both at the same time and fill it in as I was going. So whether you prefer the pop-ups, whether you prefer the dual windows, and these tabs in Obsidian, you can bring it down below, bring it to the left, do whatever you want. They are wonderful for that. If I was a race that had powerful build, I would just need to toggle that. It would change my carry capacity. She is a female. At this stage, she is 34. She is medium in size. Sometimes this matters. Usually in my case it doesn't, so I'm not worried about it. She is neutral. Now, languages. Languages are a wonderfully funny thing. You can go to the page once again and see all of them in detail, or the complete list, and see what languages it is that you want to apply to your character. In her case, she gets Draconic, Thieves' Cant, Shu, she actually lives in Sholung these days, Undercommon, and she actually has Speak with Snakes from a very old situation, so I just add Snake. The old situation being she was not always a Dragonborn. And so all I have to do is enter it in here, and I can press enter or the plus sign, and I will get these pop-ups. Now, if I ever have a change or I entered something misspelled, I can right-click one of these and I can edit it and change what it says to fix it, or change how it says it. I can right-click one to rearrange them. Change with that. All kinds of things like that. I can enter subclasses by simply putting it in place. This time around, she is running on the Shinobi subclass. I can do a multi-class when she gets to that point, and it will automatically update here when she does get her sorcerer multi-class. I can enter what that is, You can see it doesn't update yet. So sometimes we get a delay here, and I'll show you how to fix that as soon as we get further down, because there's one thing we have to do in the code. So her background was a courtesan. The group she is with is the Zentarum. Her religion these days is Saoliang. Current location is kind of funny because she's supposed to be in Sholong, but currently that's not actually the case. Now, traits and proficiencies are just like languages. They get entered just the same. So we get to think about things like how she gets her disguise kit proficiency, poisoner's kit proficiency. Just hit enter. With her weapons, all of her weapons are actually already on here, so they obviously came from, and her light armor proficiency obviously come from straight up being a rogue. As a blue dragonborn, she has lightning resistance. You can see this says none. So when I put in lightning, now it says lightning and none. I can right click that, I can edit it, or I can just remove it. And now it's just lightning. Now the reasoning for that is so that when these show up in other places, they show up like a nice list. So for example, proficiencies show up, ooh, lots of code because we haven't activated the rest of the character sheet. So when I go down to her inventory, her proficiencies show up and they look all nice and neat. So she has not yet got a spellcasting modifier because she is not yet a caster. If she was running on a spell limit versus like known spells versus preparable spells, which she will be, then I'll fill that in and it'll show up in the spell section. But this way it's up here with character creation, so it's all nice and simple. And all of her passives show up. And then we have her personal hit points and the death saving throws. And this is once again coded to roll it in Tailspire. So then when Tailspire is opened, it will automatically bring it up with any relevant mods. Now, this wonderful thing is pulling code, and some of it slow and some of it fast. So you can see the hit dice currently says D8. You can see it says 36. It's basing that 36 off of the max HP pulled up here. But it's not pulling the fact that I should have 3 hit dice yet. And part of that is because some code runs fast, some code runs slow. There's different reasons for that. But one of the things we also need to do is, as we saw up here, that some of it doesn't send to the front matter very quickly. The other part that matters is that these trackers, all of them, need to be unique because of the way that that plugin works. And so we actually need to go in and make this tracker unique to this character sheet. So clicking at the bottom of the page, I can just bump the arrow up to get into the code. And that way you don't have to go through all the code and scroll to the bottom. You are just looking for state key. And in this case, you are looking for state key multi-class health template. Now you can replace where it says template with your character name and make it unique for the campaign because she's in a few. Or you can put it at the end of template. Just whatever it does, this has to now be something that is special to this character. Now, the added benefit of going into the source mode like this is it forces the front matter to read the spaces. So when I clicked outside the box, now I can see it all nice and proper again. And as I scroll down, look, it's reading from the front matter, and that's going to force it in. So a common error that you will have is you'll fill everything in, and then you'll come back to your page, and one of these will be blank. And that's because it never actually sent it to the front matter. So if you're ever worried in your character sheet when you have just finished building a character sheet to lock it in, you can come up to these 3 dots, click source mode to just get it into source mode once, the whole sheet, and click source mode again to come out, and your whole sheet will then be fully updated and caught up. I hope that that helps explain that part. As far as all my players go, it's probably honestly more information than most of you truly need. Now let's go into explaining this for the people that actually want to understand what we are doing here. So first off, I have this entire code block built within columns. I have it built in 2 columns. I am using the D&D UI toolkit that gets installed through BRAT. I am using Metabind, and I am using advanced tables. I think that's everything that goes into this top portion. So in my community plugins, I have BRAT. I have advanced tables. You can see I've actually got a lot of plugins. I use DataView a lot as well. There is my D&D UI toolkit and my Metabind. So there's a lot in here. Now, the benefit to that is all of this, of course, is Metabind. This comes from the D&D UI toolkit. I worked my tailbone off for the Tailspire codes. And this comes from the D&D UI toolkit. And this is all Metabind, all displayed within tables and columns. So let's go into the code block and actually take a look at this. Edit this code. We have info boxes first off. Inside columns, we have code pulling the image from the front matter. And then we have all these wonderful codes. So I have everything from the level calculator and this little snippet here, sending it up to front matter. We have the toggles running on if proficiencies apply to certain things, what modifiers to use, things like that. Armor proficiencies, turning on and off things that are within the front matter. So all of this is sending to front matter and receiving from front matter to be able to calculate max hit points, speed, dark vision. We've got our inline select for the dark vision drop down. It's then sending up to dark vision. The reason behind that is that we could do things that pull it to other places. So when we're viewing information from the campaign page, when we're viewing information from the campaign drop downs. So like I have these wonderful drop downs that pull magic items and known languages, information about the characters. Then it all shows up nice and quick and easy. In their case, this one. So right now you can see that there's 2 reading because I'm updating a character sheet. So that is how that goes. The stat section, this comes from the D&D UI toolkit. I've got it programmed to pull from the front matter. The tables are going to look really funny because they are all extra coded. Extra coded. It's a lot in there. So first off, you've got the toggle as to whether or not you have proficiency in strength. You then have it working out what your base mod is for strength. You then have it working out and pulling from the front matter the code to then make it roll in Tailspire for strength. You have it then calculating and sending to Tailspire for strength if it's got the saving throw proficiency. And of course, all of that is calculating off of whatever your stats came from down here, where it inputted your numbers and even created the strength mod to begin with. So it is pulling and mathing everything together, which makes it so much easier for the players, but it was such a pain in the ass to work it through. So now it's here, nice and easy for you. So one full row of code looks like that in the table. That way your table works. Now, when you are first building this yourself, I recommend not doing it in an info block. It'll lay out easier. You can edit it a little easier and then put it in your info block. And same with the skills page. So a full row on the skills page looks like this, and I'm already seeing So it looks like this. And so what it is doing is, first off, it is telling us what things are. And I have color coded these to match the capability that they come from, just because then some of my visually impaired players can identify things easier. You can also then go into this HTML and do font size, which I have done for some of my character templates. I have one that's large font here. That way it can read the size. I can make the font bigger for players that need it, because if I update it on one page, it updates them on all of them if you do it through Obsidian settings versus doing it through code. Then it's toggling whether or not they have proficiency in that department. Then it's toggling whether or not they have expertise in that department. Then it's working out with that color code snippet again, what that is, and sending it up as the actual ability, up back into the source mode again. Then we have the code snippet on how Tailspire takes that ability from the source mode and rolls with it, and opens that roll directly in Tailspire. We then have whether or not that has advantage. And this code, let me tell you, was entertaining. But there it is. So if you are playing with Tailspire, this is the code you want to build in to be able to do advantage and disadvantage rolls within Tailspire. So you're telling it that you want Tailspire to roll dice. You want what you want the roll to say in Tailspire, what you want Tailspire to see that it's called. You want the type of die that you are rolling and how many. So this number can change if you were doing multiple, like 2d6s plus the mod. This is how it reads the front matter. And this slash separates rolls so that it will roll twice with the modifiers each and not combine them as one roll with multiple dice. And then, of course, I've got it applied a second time. So complete again, that is a full row of the skill checks table so that you can understand. And of course, I've got it going all the way down. And it's a super wide table because of it. Once again, it is much easier to build outside of the info box and then put it in. In my columns, I am text aligning them to center. You can make your columns different sizes, of course. I've got the player info section, once again, running on all of these Metabind options. Because I have yet to be able to find a way where when you change the drop down, it changes the Tailspire die itself. I have spent hours and hours trying to fix that. I can't. So I have created separate Tailspire mini links for each hit die to be able to be rollable if needed. The added bonus there then too is when you are multi-classing and you have different hit dice, it's okay. The bio section, once again, all those wonderful Metabind options, all sending up. And then you have the list ones, and this is how we get that checklist of items that get added. But these are all input fields. And when they are not input fields, they are view fields, then you have to put that piece at the end that sends the information back up to source mode, such as on this view field, you have that wonderful little snippet at the end that saves the information it's calculating and then sends it back up. Because I want it calculating in a view field. You can't have it calculate in an input field. So then it sends it back up. And then we get near the bottom of this. I'm pulling this up, sending my passive perception back up because it pulls back to that table that we looked at over here on the sideboard so that you can see passive perception, armor class, things like that. And then this hit point tracker from the D&D UI Toolkit. I am in love with the D&D UI Toolkit to the person who made it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This particular one is for their wonderful multi-classing. And so this is pulling the max HP that I've calculated up above. The state key is unique so that it can read it from, I believe it's the JSON file for it. And this is pulling how many hit dice from the source mode as well for each class. So when I do have a player multi-class, I do have to come in here and change if their hit die is different. If they are using a class-specific character sheet from these templates, then their first die will already be accurate. But if they are doing a second one, then I have to go in and change that die. But that's it. And so that is the top source box. And so you can see that because we are level 3, we did check that sorcerer was updated here because the front matter has changed. You can see this one is being a little funny, but sometimes it does work. Usually it does work. So it's being a little bit slow on inputting our rogue level and reading it. Sometimes, in order to get things to work properly, we have to fully open and close them. So we'll scroll down, get it to read its code again. And now, it's still... Well, I actually like when things go wrong in my videos because I like to find out why and help to show you guys why that might be a problem. So if that's still reading at 1, but our rogue level is still reading at 3, let's go into the source mode totally and take a look at our front matter. Words, things. So in our front matter, all of that core information is kind of up here. The further down you go, the more irrelevant it is for you to tweak because most of it's toggles. So we go to C1 LVL 3. And yeah, it says 3, and it is C1 LVL. Now, the next thing I want to problem solve is maybe I actually have that in there wrong. So I'm going to Control C this to exactly have what it says. And I'm going to come out of source mode. And I'm going to click below and come back up because I don't want to scroll through the whole thing by going in through the greater than, less than symbols in the corner. And we can see that, yes, it is C1 LVL, class 1 level. I'm just going to paste to confirm. Yeah, that's right. Clicking out. Okay, so what could actually be happening here? Because I have seen this work properly on others. So other things to check is things like, do I have any plugins that need to be updated? Yes, I have 50 plugins. Yes, this vault is extensive. I'm sorry. I don't. Okay, so if that's not the case, then I can continue going through my problem solving situation. But for the time being, let's show you one that worked. We're going to go to this guy's character sheet. And you can see here that it was pulling. He is level 2. There it is. And just to confirm and show you, nothing looks different. D10 value pulled from there. When we look up here, when we go into source mode, we can see his class 1 level is 2, so it is pulling accurately. It just, for some reason, does not currently like SU sheet. And so let's go back to SU sheet, scroll down, get the code to read, and I will have to play with that a little bit. But we can see that it does work. It's just having a moment. So enjoy, have a great day. Hope this is helpful.